Welcome to Elementary, where we dive deep into the world of real estate. I'm your host, Jacqueline Watson. And today we're exploring the trend that is quietly and dramatically changing the landscape of our real estate. It's literally reshaping the landscape of our real estate market, or our housing market, should I say. As most of you know, I'm located out of Toronto, based a realtor in Toronto, Ontario. My topic for today is how the aging populations are reshaping the real estate industry or the landscape. And this by far is a huge topic that most of us probably, for me, I've turned my mind to it because that's the demographic that I work with. But for some others, I think there's a little bit of a disconnect when it comes down to this generation and what's in store. But let's get into this topic. I've got a few points that I want to break down as we go along. And I kind of want to, help you understand how huge this topic really is. And in saying that, I will say, let's look at the numbers, right? What's the demographic shift look like? The demographic shift is pretty large. Right now, 65% or older makes up 18%. So 18% of the population are age 65 or older. That is a huge number. But guess what? In 2036, that number is going to change to 25%. And that's even bigger than you can imagine, right? So this is not just a stat. It's a huge seismic shift, really, for our industry and how we manage it on a go forward. So let's talk about, this is all tied together. So we're going to talk about the condo boom, right? So currently, condo market is a bit, is a little sticky, let's just say. And, many people have their condos up for sale, but there's a whole different criteria behind it. But what we're noticing is, in the last few years, more and more seniors were trading up their homes for a condo. And condos really make up 76% of the total sales. But in saying that, it is reshaping our skyline. If you look at Toronto, that's all you see. You see condos, right? And that's quite a fair bit. However, while we have a surplus right now, just imagine 5 years from now. Rumor on the street is that we'll be struggling, and while today we're having a boom of condos, 5 years from now, potentially we could be in the opposite direction. And that's because most of these projects take 3 to 5 years to build. Most of them in the last little while were on the 5-year mark. And in saying that, what was really happening is 5 years from now, if no one's really building and no projects are moving ahead, then we might just see a fair bit of condos that were not built or not considered coming on the market. 5 years from now, we might see a shortage, and there might be a disruption in how many condos are available. And I know in the last little while, they were struggling with the high cost of borrowing, struggling with, the supply chain issues. And while some of those issues might be better, the very fact that people are not working, they're not breaking ground on some of these projects, there might be a delay, and therefore this will just ramp up our housing market lag even further, if you know what I mean. Having said that, The third topic, which is of utmost importance, is aging in place. So we've been hearing this term aging in place, and not many people really know what that means. It really kind of means, hey, they don't have enough beds in a long-term care. There's a huge lineup in a long-term care. And therefore, they're encouraging more people to stay at home and make some modifications to their home. So, for example, if you have a 2-story home, you could get a chair left in. If you have bathtubs, you could have either a walk-in shower, curbless shower, or you can even have one of those, those bathtubs which allow you to really soak in those. Now, mind you, if you're thinking of one of those bathtubs, I would suggest you actually use one that someone has in place before you buy one. I actually didn't turn my mind towards it, but someone actually made a great point. It was actually one of my older, most seasoned clients, and they were telling me, this bathtub takes so long to drain that you're sitting in there waiting for the water to drain and you're getting cold. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I didn't even think of that. That is quite the possibility that you're sitting in there waiting for, this bathtub to drain and you're probably getting cold in it. But, these are some of the things that they're talking about that could help you remain in your home a bit longer so that you have some tools so that you can age in place and you don't have to be at a long-term care facility. Now, in those facilities too, we're seeing people coming in at, when they're quite a bit older. The other part too is even retirement homes, people are not coming for lifestyle anymore, right? Because there's a cost associated with it. But what I'm also noticing, and this is my point number 4, is the rise of retirement communities. And when I say retirement communities, these are purpose-built retirement communities, a little different than just retirement homes where you rent. These are communities, they are like condo retirement communities that you can be a part of. But they have a lot of amenities. It's almost like a condo building, but for just a certain age group. And what they have is they have a lot of amenities. So this is another great option. As a matter of fact, I know a few communities that they have homes, bungalow style homes, bungalow style townhomes, and also low-rise condos. And it's pretty amazing because they have golf and they have like a pool, and they have like community events, and you can just, the community is a gated community and you can like walk around. It's pretty safe and it's nice, and the snow is shoveled for you. Outside work is done. Now, it is a good option if you're thinking that, hey, maybe I should be, considering retiring sometime soon. Now, what else are we noticing? I'm noticing an impact on family homes. And in saying that, what's happening with the family homes is that because people are thinking of selling. Now, some of my clients particularly are still haven't turned their minds towards letting go of their family homes. But there's so much benefits. I did another episode, and you can check on the other episode. But what I did was I talked about what are some of the benefits of actually letting go of that home, because they're spending so much money on a large home, but they're really not in that mindset, or they haven't turned their mind. So what I'm advising some of my clients to do is actually think about retiring, getting older, not just retiring and getting older, but just enjoying your life. Really, you've worked all your life. Like my parents, for example, my dad started working when he was so young. My mother as well. They had siblings to look after, and a lot of times, they didn't, make a sound. They had to help out with family. So they went to work and they did their thing, right? And they've been working for so long. And, someone's always telling them what to do. And I said, well, it's about time that you do your own thing, and if it means downsizing, taking that money out so you can have a great life, we don't need the money. We'll make our own money. And if we don't have money, we'll suffer. But they struggled. Like some of, and I'm sure some of you really have the same feeling I do, right? We're immigrants. We were not born here. We came to this country. We started from scratch. We made our way. And my parents came when they were a lot older. And so what then happens is, even though they are living very, really good lives, they are, they have, whatever they have. I tell them, spend it all. Go enjoy yourself. Go for a vacation. But coming back to, family homes, it's a good way to really let other families enjoy your home. What I'm noticing some of my clients talking about is perhaps they have grandkids or they have kids that they want to help out with a home. And so they're thinking about, if they liquidate their assets. Now, some others are doing something different. Some others are like taking out reverse mortgages. And while reverse mortgages typically are quite high, right now with the rates the way they've been, reverse mortgages are actually pretty competitive. However, you still have to pay the interest, right? And so a lot of times is if you don't need this big house and you can't find a way to, not everyone's up to house hacking. I mean, I don't think when I'm that age, I can't even do it now. So I couldn't even do it when I was younger. I definitely don't think house hacking would be for me. So I couldn't expect some of my clients to also be open-minded towards house hacking. But a lot of my clients are also getting into multi-generational living. And I've been finding some of my clients perfect homes so that they can fit a couple of generations in the home. And so they help each other out. And I did an episode on that one as well, where they help each other out with whether it's, helping with the kids, babysitting after school. It certainly helps with the budget. The only thing is you have to be open to someone else sharing your space, even if it's family. You can still get on each other's nerves. And you have to be open-minded to having, people having their privacy and people being open to being respectful of each other's space, so to speak. So when we're talking about seniors downsizing, it's definitely a ripple effect. It allows, younger families to come into that neighborhood, and it allows seniors to progress and either consider finding a different space that will bring in other generations of their family and live together, or finding a smaller space where they are not spending all their money upkeeping a house. And this way, they get the equity out of their property and have some fun while they do it. So one of the other things which is quite interesting is location. And when we say location, we're not kidding. And we're not talking about living in the heart of the city. But what some of my older clients are asking for is when they are looking to downsize, they're saying to me, can you make sure that this place is within the proximity of a hospital or has little doctors, clinics close enough so that they don't have to be stressed out about having to get to their appointments and deal with any of those issues. So those are important things, right? And as we build more housing, we have to really kind of turn our minds towards this. Right now, I think we're haphazardly building whatever we can build without really turning our minds. They take so much time to plan a road and how the road is planned out. Yet for all our housing seems to be, hey, I'm just going to build this. But how about building something that people will buy. If people want something, then they're going to buy it. Obviously they're going to have to qualify for it first, but, definitely, turning their minds towards more purpose-built homes as opposed to, just randomly deciding on useless properties that don't suit anyone's needs. It's, like these small little shoebox condo units that, nobody wants to live in because they feel so claustrophobic. And, when they do have a unit, if it's too close to a highway, like for example, downtown Toronto, when it's really close to a highway, not everybody has a window, right? Especially when you're on the whatever floor. I mean, not everyone has a balcony. I mean, they have windows. Sorry. I meant balconies, right? So a balcony is always a good space if you were in a condo, but when you don't have a balcony, people are like, oh, I don't really need a balcony, until they feel kind of tied to their unit where there's no place to go, like even if they want a little bit of air, right? Number 7 is financial consideration. So the financial aspect is crucial. We all know that. Seniors are using more of their, as I mentioned, more of their line equities from their home, or reverse mortgages or HELOCs to really pay for some of the expenses, right? And while they've put some things into place, sometimes you have to be mindful about what you're taking out. People are living longer, and I'm also seeing a lot of, seniors taking out money to help their kids. But when I say help their kids, it's one thing if you take out money to help your kids buy a home. It's one thing if you take out money on certain aspects. But when you start taking out money for useless items like buying a car and for your kids, then because these are like HELOCs, right? So I think it's always important to really kind of understand what goals you're trying to achieve and how do you get to that. Now, the one thing I'll say to you is that if you were to book a call with me, I'm a no pressure salesperson. I can tell you this much. Yeah, I sell homes for a living. But I can tell you, if you're not ready, you're not ready. If you're, I don't do the heavy, hard sell. I don't like it myself. It really, like if someone came to try and sell me something and was doing the hard sell and trying to push it, I would be totally turned off by that. It repulses me. So I don't do it to my clients. But I also feel like more and more people are not sitting down and finding out what their options are, right? And how they could achieve that goal. Now, there are some of my clients will come to me and they'll say, now they're not seniors, they're downsizing age maybe. And when I say downsize, it doesn't mean you're downsizing to smaller. It means you're maybe a lateral move. Maybe you're getting a different style of house. I call that downsizing because you're thinking of what's to come, right? It may be a bigger house, but it could be that it's a different style house that will suit your needs a bit longer. And so some of my clients come to me with that option. Some clients will come to me with the option of, hey, I want to be mortgage free. And as we are looking into the upcoming renewals, more and more people are asking. Now, I did it myself. I worked on being mortgage free, and that was one of our goals that we had. And so if it's anyone who can give you some straight goods on it, it'll be me, because I've done it. I'm not going to ask you to do anything that I didn't do myself, right? So, but the most important part is actually understanding what your options are. And, I was reading something today and I was trying to figure out why people, this is like their largest asset, and why people don't take more time to consider, what they want to do. Like, I did a show about investments and if you had a cottage and how you have to be mindful about, how you map out your money, for the future for your kids, so that you are, when you're doing estate planning, the whole 9 yards, right? And I think it's really, really important to understand that. But I think a lot of people, I think we get like the sound of getting old, or even maybe someday thinking about, hey, I might be dead. It's a very morbid topic, right? And I think a lot of us, we don't want to turn our minds towards, hey, what do we do when we get older? Like, are we like, do we have all of our ducks in a row? Do people actually know what we want, right? And I think those are important topics, although we find it difficult to talk about. In saying that, like this is going to be a huge shift, like just up to 2036, like I mentioned at the start of the show. Just right now, we are people that are 65 years or older. Right now, the number is 18%. I mentioned that at the start of the show. And by 2036, that number is going to be 25%. That's a huge number for people that are older, looking to downsize, looking to find a different way of life. But we as the people that are out there to help them need to turn our minds towards it, right? Like, for example, you put a senior's home on the market, or someone who, maybe it doesn't have to be a senior, but if you put someone who's having mobility problems, a little older, clearly, you can't call 10 minutes and say, I'll be there, I want to see your house, right? So it's about shifting your mindset to help your clients out. Shifting your mindset, adapting to their needs, making people understand these are the parameters around, about how this home is going to be shown, and having people respect, like other real estate agents respect your clients' needs. Now, some agents are very good, extremely good. They're very respectful when they come to show, to take a look at a home. They're very respectful. And then there are a few that, you always have a few. That's all I can say. And those few are the ones that really kind of leave distaste. I remember I had this one, client's house on the market, and this client would get very upset if people say, hey, I have a showing between such and such time, even though all the listing says you need to call, if you're running late, you need to do, and I get it. It's hard when you're trying to time all your listings. Sometimes there's a little bit of timing, disruptions. I am like very big on at least letting people know that you're running late, or you're going to be a few minutes late, or not going to be a few minutes late. If you're going to be late beyond the time, then you have to rebook your showing. That's just the way it goes. But I think some people just don't care. Like, I had a guy who said he didn't show up for the showing, and I'm like, where are you? And he's like, yeah, I'll be there soon. And I'm like, how soon? Like, you're already 15 minutes late. He's like, oh, I'll be there in the next hour. And I'm like, no, your showing was at this time. And he's like, oh, you're not going to let me in? And I'm like, no, you had a timing. You need to show up within the time. It was kind of like a little annoying, so to speak. Anyhow, in saying that, did you guys have any questions today? Anything at all, like about, okay, someone's giving me the thumbs down sign. I don't know if that means they don't have any questions or they didn't like the show, whatever. I'm not quite sure. But assuming you don't have any questions, I will wrap up. In the next little while, there's going to be a big shift in the demographics of our real estate market. Right now, the way we work from day to day, it's, a little different than the market we had a few years ago, which is quite interesting, really. There's a 50% chance that we'll see another rate drop in September, which is still, on a grand scheme of things, 4.25% is not bad. However, with the prices of homes and the amount that homes are priced at, I can see how people are qualifying for less, right? So, so if you have any questions, and you want to talk about your situation, I'm happy to take your call. Feel free to DM me on Instagram or on my website. It's watsonhomes.ca. It's pretty simple. And like I said, for the next little while, we'll see a big shift in this market with the amount of seniors some of them have been waiting. I can tell you, I had maybe a dozen homes lined up this year to go on the market, and they've decided to wait a little longer before they put their homes on the market. They were not quite ready yet. But all I say to my clients that are seniors is that let it be your choice. Don't let someone else dictate to you if you should move or when you should move. Let it be your choice. So figure out all of the stuff in advance, because we know that it takes a little longer to get their homes on the market, right? Because they've got lots of years of possessions that we might have to sift through and help them part with or share with other family members. And so it is a work in progress. So, as always, thank you so much for joining me on the Monday evening, spending your dinner hour with me. It's always appreciated. If you have a topic that you'd like me to unpack further, feel free to DM me. Let me know. And my name is Jacqueline Watson. I'm a realtor with Sutton Group Tower in Toronto. And until next time, now next Monday is a long weekend, so I won't be here. But the following Monday, I have this guest. You're going to love her. I won't tell you much about her, but if you're available, I already have I have it set for 6:00 the following Monday, not next Monday, but the following one. Great guest. And hopefully, you'll be able to join and listen into what she has to share. But until next time, thank you so much. I so appreciate it. Bye.